Wagwan people, wanna never miss me. Oh, lucky. Yeah man, me didn't miss on too man, you see it. But I'm finally back. Yeah, right here. You see it? Just to take a little break. But yeah man, I'm there again. You see it? And guess who else is back? The horror fans would be pleased to know that James 1 is back. You know who James 1 is, right? Seriously? James 1, the same director who gave you movies like Saw and The Conjuring, and also an action movie called Aquaman, right? So this time, in this movie that we're talking about here today, Malignant 2021, he has managed to combine all three. It's a mixture of supernatural and slasher horror and action. It's kind of like a combination of a 2018 sleep paralysis horror movie called Mara and a 2014 detective horror movie called Deliver Us from Evil, which in my opinion was very entertaining, and I think you should go check it out. And then it's got this 80s kind of vibe sprinkled over it, you know? Not much, but it has a little 80s kind of throwback vibe to it every now and then. You know? I think it was refreshing. I liked it.
Detective! He's still here! He's still here!
So, what's the premise? What's Malignant about? Madison, a woman in her early to mid 30s, is experiencing severe sleep paralysis. However, she later discovers that it's not just dreams, but they are actually visions. The nightmares that she's having, they are actually things that are happening in real life. They haven't already happened, and then she's dreaming about them. And she's not seeing them before they happen, but she's actually seeing them while they are happening.
Daddy! Daddy! Hey, what's wrong? What's wrong? I wasn't dreaming. I saw.
It's as if she's right there. And at the same time, she has to be dealing with this abusive relationship and two cops who suspect her of doing all these murders. Well, yeah, they're still solving the case, so it's partly a detective movie. For me, this movie was aware, in the sense that it's a throwback to an 80s kind of film, and I mean, it knows that, so at times it doesn't really take itself very seriously, you know. Even some of the dialogues and stuff, you know, it's kind of throwback, like what you would get in an old kind of horror film. Critics will complain about that, but I really think it was intentional, you know. The director was aware of all that, and I think it was on purpose. And I enjoyed it. And then there were times when it did take itself very seriously. And those times were actually very good. So there was a good balance. And the atmosphere, the whole cinematography, and the camera work was excellent. So shout out to Michael Burgess for doing a very good job on the cinematography. Now, I know some of you, after watching this movie, have a lot of questions. So, I'm going to attempt to answer some of them. Like, for example, number one. Okay, I'm trying not to give anything away, trying to keep it spoiler free as possible. So what I'm about to explain, you may not quite grasp it if you haven't watched the movie as yet. However, if you have watched the movie already, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. So here goes. Later on in the movie, after the killer is exposed, things get a little confusing. So it makes you want to flash back to earlier times in the movie. Like, for example, close to the beginning, when Madison was being chased. At one of the time, she even was trying to hold a door, and the door was kicked off, right? So after finding out who the killer was, it makes you wonder, so how did that door get to be kicked down? That is explained right here.
Because they literally share the same brain, I think he's able to trick her mind and make her think she's living her life as usual, essentially placing her in a mental prison, when in reality, Gabriel has hijacked her body and is using it himself.
Yeah, that, and also apparently the killer just likes to torture Madison for fun. The second question: when the cops were interrogating Madison, how comes they got a phone call? It makes you wonder, how was that phone call possible after knowing who the killer is? That is explained right here.
Dr. Fields, what the hell is happening?
I tried to subdue him with ECT, but electroshock had no effect on him. Then all the machines started going crazy. It was like he was drinking the electricity and controlling our machine.
And to further elaborate, there was even this scene where the killer clearly disrupted a phone's reception and signal.
Hello, John?
And also this scene where the killer exploded a pacemaker.
Please, okay. Help!
I, however, have two questions of my own. One, if the killer was so untouchable, so unbeatable, right? We see the killer taking on a whole entire police station of cops, and they can't even touch the killer. Then how is it that the cop, who is the lead detective on the case, somewhat the star of the movie, one of the stars of the movie, how comes he had a one-on-one confrontation with the killer and did so well? He even had the killer running, chasing him relentlessly, and the killer had to flee and escape to save his life. It doesn't make sense. And question number two, if the killer is so ruthless and relentless, even kills his family, why did the killer spare the same star of the movie, the detective, a second time? I mean, the killer had just killed a lot of people, and then the cop slash detective was just there, vulnerable, and the killer just walked away. It doesn't add up. Those two faults are what is stopping me from giving this movie an A. I'm giving Malignant 2021 a solid B+. You definitely should go see it, and it's definitely what you have come to expect from director James Wan. I'm just taking a quick moment to give a big shout out to my friend Simone Clark, otherwise known as Ms. C, That's MZ space C, who all the way from the United States of America sent me these 2 tripod stands with ring light and microphone and remote. The whole works. Thank you very much for your support. And also my other good friend Andrew Fisher, who is kind of like my #1 fan, puts my videos on replay and all that. Thanks a lot, guys. And both of them are also my Facebook friends, who are also in my Facebook group of same name, Mekwe Mingle. So if you are a Facebook user, you can go and check out the Facebook group Mekwe Mingle, MEK space WI space MINGLE, and my name on Facebook is Kevin Simpson.
Want to know subscription, man?
You want more?
Them get a drink, yeah. Yeah, want to know subscription, man. For the human tube, tune in. For the human tube.
Thanks again, guys. So, Malignant 2021. I really would love to hear what you think about it. So leave your comments and your questions below. And if you haven't watched it as yet, I strongly recommend that you do. And when you do, please come back and leave your comments. Thank you very much. And do remember to hit the bell just right after you subscribe. See you again soon.